8 years ago, I was just starting to get into recording music. I had only recently started playing music, and that was thanks to my dude, Justin, who was also my roommate at the time. Actually, it was a really fun time. It was me, Justin, and our buddy Preston all living in this old farmhouse together, and we sort of had a little three-piece blues rock band going. We even had a full Pearl drum kit set up in the back room. It was pretty wild time. But anyways, near the tail end of this time, I decided to try and record a song for my dude Justin. And this was a song that he wrote. I think he actually wrote it when he was a senior in high school, or maybe just out of high school. And the song spoke to me the first time I heard it. It's a great song. And Justin is, and was even at the time, very talented guitar player and vocalist. So I'd got a microphone and was starting to get curious about recording music, and this seemed like a good place to start. So this was one of the first songs that I ever tried to record, and it was his vocal track, his rhythm electric guitar, and then a solo at the end. Those are the 3 tracks, plus electronic drums, and I played a bass track for it at the time. Well, because it was one of my very early attempts at producing music, not surprising that neither of us were very satisfied with the finished product. So we kind of said, we'll just set this aside and move on to something else. Well, just recently, I was browsing some files on an old dusty hard drive, and I came across this old song, and I was curious, so I opened it up in GarageBand, took a listen to it, and I said, you know what? This song is great. And not only that, the raw tracks are actually not bad. So I decided, since I have come a long ways in my mixing and audio production abilities since 8 years ago, I'm going to give the song a second shot. And that's what you're about to listen to, the 2025 remix of Criminal by Justin Lindsey. You will definitely want to listen through to the end to hear the rockin' guitar solo. I love this solo. And I will meet you at the end of the song to say a little bit more about it and a little bit more about what went into the production of the song technically.
Well, I'm a criminal on the run. They're finally catching up to me, yeah. Maybe I can go away for a while, yeah. Maybe I can find a place behind the sun, but I can stay outside all night long. A place where I can call my own, all my own, all my own, all my own, yeah. Well, I am a guilty man, and my life turned out the way I planned. No margaritas or pretty girls in the sand, in the sand, in the sand, no. Take the hit, take the chance of your life. One person can't change a life. I'm cruising down this long, lonely road. I got a feeling I won't make it home. And feel the time slip from my hands. I scream aloud for my life. Well, I'm a criminal on the run. They're finally catching up to me. Maybe I could go away for a while,
Man, that guitar solo gives me chills every time, and I've heard it a million times during the production process. But that is the song, definitely a rock song, kind of a slow jam with some deep and meaningful lyrics. And the lyrics kind of make some of my little folk tunes seem shallow in comparison. But I've always loved that song. I don't know that Justin himself, I don't know that he loves it. He seems kind of hesitant to want to break it out. I have to egg him on a little bit to get him to play it for people. I don't know that he thinks of himself really as a songwriter so much. I'd say he probably considers himself primarily a guitar player, and he's a great guitar player, obviously. Whereas I would call myself more of a songwriter. That's kind of my main purpose in making music, is creating songs. But anyways, now I want to go on and say a little bit about how we recorded this song 8 years later, what we did right and what could have been improved, and then I want to say a little something about what I did to produce it and mix it and make it sound halfway decent. So from what I remember, the song was recorded in the living room of the old farmhouse where we were staying, and I think the room sounded pretty good. I think it was not a bad sound at all. There was enough soft furniture in there and rugs to deaden it a little bit, but also the room was large enough and had enough wood surfaces to give it some resonance. It had wood floors, I think actually pine wood floors. This was an old house, actually my great-grandfather's old house, and it had wood paneling on the walls and on the ceiling. So I think the room sounded good. What we were lacking a pop filter, and not only that, I think I had Justin sing up really close to the mic, which isn't necessarily always the best sound. It brings out a lot of low end in the voice, and sometimes that can result in a really muddy sound, which is not what you want. Typically I record my vocals with this same mic often back about like this, back maybe 16 inches, to bring out some brightness and high end in the sound. That's known as the proximity effect. It's amazing what you can do with just a microphone and where you place it. So that wasn't great. We had some issues with some plosives for lack of pop filter, and I probably wouldn't have recorded with him so close to the mic nowadays. However, I think in this case it actually worked out. It worked for his voice, and where we had the gain set, which was probably just luck because I didn't really know how to gain stage a mic at all at that point. But I think it kind of gives it more of a live microphone sound in a way, having that little bit of extra low end and extra body to it. I don't think it's a bad sound. As far as the guitar parts, I'm pretty sure I didn't even have a real interface at the time. I use a Scarlett 2i2 now, which you can plug in XLR cables from a mic or guitar cables. You plug directly into this and have your direct inputs directly in to the computer. At that time, I didn't have that. I just had a mic with some sort of crude preamp thing that would allow you to plug the mic into the computer via USB. So we must have mic'd his amps. I think that's what we did, and miking amps correctly is a whole thing that I still don't have a lot of experience with, but I know we didn't know what we were doing. But I think the guitars still ended up sounding okay regardless. And knowing Justin, he would have used his amps and his guitar to dial in his tone how he wanted it to sound. Now, because it's also going through the mic's going to alter the sound, but I tried to leave his guitar tone as close to what I thought he wanted it to be as possible. So I really, didn't apply any effects or much EQ to his guitar tones, and I think they sounded all right. So 8 years on, just a week ago from when I'm talking to you now, this is what I did to remix the song and try to make it sound more cohesive and just get it to sound right, to sound like a real song. The most important thing was getting the static mix right. So the static mix is just adjusting the volume levels on individual tracks. So balancing the volume of the vocals, the rhythm guitar, the bass, and the drums. And, I'm still learning how to do all this. I'm still relatively new to mixing. I've taken a long break in the meantime since when I started getting into this stuff. But I've just come back into it full bore here pretty recently, and I feel like I'm getting a lot better because now I have some finished tracks that actually sound good to me, that I actually like listening to. So that's usually a sign that you're on the right track. So I got the static mix right, best I could. I'm just editing in GarageBand here, which is a very basic, stripped down piece of audio editing software. But what's one great thing about GarageBand, it has really good electronic drums, automated drums that give you a lot of manual control over how the drums play and how the kit sounds. So I spent some time on this song really trying to make the drums mesh with the rhythm of the song, and for the individual fills and parts to really help the song along. And I think I did a pretty good job. You can always, spend an infinite amount of time working on that, but I think it turned out all right. And I did play a bass track, a new bass track. I played a bass track a long time ago. It wasn't very good. I'm a much better bass player now and musician in general. So I went ahead and played a new bass track for it, and you probably won't even notice the bass guitar. Bass guitar is sort of in the background, but also very important to filling out a song and having that low end. When you hear a song with the bass removed, it just doesn't sound right. Something is very obviously missing. But when you play a bass line correctly, it shouldn't necessarily be noticeable for most of the song. It should complement the song. It should mesh with the kick drum, the bass drum on the drum kit, and should mesh with the rhythm of the song. So in addition to the bass track, I also played an acoustic guitar part. which you also may not have even noticed was there. What I wanted to do is make the song a little bit more stereo. I wanted to make it feel bigger. And the way that you do that is by panning Justin's original electric rhythm guitar to one side so that you hear it mainly in one ear, and I don't remember which part went to which side, but I panned his guitar part to one side, then I panned my acoustic guitar part to the other side, and it just makes the song bigger, wider, fuller, and having the addition of acoustic guitar is also just an extra bit of texture, just another type of sound, a different guitar sound. So the final thing I did, and I'm not necessarily telling you these steps in the right order, but the final thing I did was working on the vocals, and I really didn't have to do that much because to me, Justin is a great vocalist. He can sing a lot better than I can, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he was actually in choir in high school, which probably helped him. I'm sure they can teach you some things, but he just naturally has a good voice. But I wanted to make the vocals sound as good as possible, so I did add a little bit of an effect, just a subtle delay, and it's actually a preset in GarageBand. There's a little bit more to it than just delay, which is essentially a type of echo. The preset in GarageBand I think is just called Classic Vocal, and it also comes with some built-in EQ. So I mainly just wanted to utilize that delay effect. I didn't want the EQ that came along with it necessarily, so I went in and did my own EQ on the vocals just to try and make them sound a little clearer, a little brighter, remove some of that muddiness that may have come along with recording Justin being very close up on the mic. And I think it sounded pretty good. I also applied a little bit of pitch correction, not a lot. I really didn't feel like it needed it, but I know that, like a lot of people, myself included, Justin doesn't always love the sound of his own voice, and I remembered from the past when we were working on the song together, I remember him saying, oh, maybe a little more pitch correction here. So just because I know he prefers a little pitch correction on his voice, I went ahead and applied that. And pitch correction is essentially auto-tune. Maybe people have heard of that. It's just the computer making your voice more in tune, and you have a lot of control over how much your voice is being altered. And I always want it to sound pretty natural. We don't want to go up into T-Pain territory, generally speaking. We want it to sound natural but be closer to being in tune, because nowadays people are just used to pitch correction. They're used to vocals sounding perfectly in tune or nearly perfectly in tune. So that is the story of the song Criminal by Justin Lindsey. It was written many, many years ago by Justin. Then several years later, we recorded it. 8 years after that, the song is finally finished. It's been a long time in the making, and I'm excited to show Justin this video. I hope he gets a kick out of it. I hope he likes the finished product as well. So let me know if you enjoyed this type of how the song was made video. I could do more. Look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. Please consider subscribing to the Cumberland Rover Music channel. It's a new channel. I have big plans for it. Plan on releasing a lot of material, a lot of my own songs that I've written, and who knows, maybe other stuff, collaborations, I'm not sure. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I will see you on the next one.
She did yoga on the lawn. Nothing but her chocolate was on. Now we're mourning took